All right, our presentation is on service strategy. And really, service strategy is the heart of ITIL. Service providers must understand that customers are buying the satisfaction of needs and not just products. Accordingly, it's essential that service providers understand the culture and the strategies of the organization to whom they are providing services. The following slides will help explain and clarify the considerations that must come into play when making a service strategy for an organization. We'll talk about key concepts, key processes and activities, and key roles and responsibilities.
Key concepts of service strategy. The 4 P's of strategy are perspective, position, plan, and pattern. Perspective has reference to the distinctive vision and direction the organization seeks to achieve. Without this perspective, the organization will not have a clear roadmap, nor definable goals. Position has reference to the basis on which the provider will compete. The position is a defined criteria for measurement of success that can be compared with competition. Plan has reference to the specific goals needed to achieve the organization's perspective. And finally, pattern, which has reference to the specific applications of business governance for the organization. Competition and market space. Steve Jobs said, "You can't look at the competition and say you're going to do it better. You have to look at the competition and say you're going to do it differently." Whether an organization provides a product or service to its customers, if the product or service is profitable, eventually a competitor will exert its influence to try to win over customers. To have success in an industry, an organization must understand its customers' needs and interests to provide a product or service with a competitive edge. Service value is the customer's perceived benefit due to receiving the service. The service's value is dependent upon service utility and service warranty. Service utility includes the benefits the customer receives and/or the constraints the customer has removed. Service warranty is the way in which the service is delivered and includes the service's fitness for use, the terms of availability, the capacity, the continuity, and the security. Service provider types. There are 3 different distinctions of service providers. Type 1 delivers internal services to a specific business unit. Type 2 delivers internal services to multiple business units. And Type 3 delivers external services to multiple organizations. Service management as a strategic asset. The use of ITIL can make strategic assets out of service management by leveraging the most out of the service provider's capabilities and resources. The capabilities of an organization include their ability to coordinate, control, and deploy resources. Resources are the direct inputs into the production of services. This includes financial resources, information, employees, buildings, applications, and more. Critical success factors. The identification, measurement, and periodic review of CSFs to determine the service assets required to successfully implement the desired strategy. Critical success factors are often confused with key performance indicators. CSFs are the critical factors necessary to implement a given strategy. They are qualitative in nature. KPIs, on the other hand, are quantitative and are used to measure levels of success in implementing a desired strategy. Examples of CSFs include having top-level management backing, cooperation between divisions of an organization, proper training for new software or applications.
Service-oriented accounting, ensuring the services that will be used are clear in terms of how much they will be used and who will use them. It is also important that the usage of these services and the associated costs are made clear between financial systems and those who manage the services. Service provisioning models. This guideline suggests that customers should have multiple models of the service to choose from, such as where to outsource from and how much of the outsourced service they would like, exclusively for themselves. Here's a quick analysis of the pros and cons of offshore, onshore, and nearshore outsourcing from the perspective of an organization in the United States. Offshore, the pros are it's cheap, talented labor. Some of the cons can be a language barrier or a time zone barrier. Onshore has benefits of usually same culture and language, ease of communication. Some of the cons are, though, it's one of the most expensive ways to do it, and sometimes it can be a lack of talent. Nearshore, which would be a similar time zone such as Mexico or Canada, which is a pro. It's relatively easy communication. One of the cons is it's still more expensive than offshore, so it's basically in the middle. Now I'll talk about managed, shared, and utility services, and I think they're best understood from the perspective of a cloud infrastructure. So a managed service is when the business does not want to share cloud space with anyone else, and they're willing to pay to keep the service completely to themselves. Shared is the sharing of IT infrastructures and resources, which provides a cheaper option usually. Maybe your business is smaller and you don't need as much space. Utility is a scalable service that are consumed based off the questions of how much, how often, and when. This is the most flexible of the three. Organization design and development. This is something that's continually at work, and it's giving thought to the most efficient shape and structure of the service provider's organization. Here's a few things to consider in regards to developing your organization. Organizational development stages. Regardless of the development stage of the organization, this makes sure services can be delivered. Sourcing strategy. Essentially, making an informed decision whether to fully outsource, semi-outsource, or to do it in-house, as was previously mentioned. Service analytics. Using technology to analyze what value the service will actually create for the organization. Service interfaces. This one is important. How services are integrated into the company so that they are accessible to consumers. For example, network protocol and also data format. Basically, what format is your data in now, and what is the customer expecting the data in? Risk management. Understand what risks the services may cause you, and how to minimize those risks. This could include the financial cost versus the actual value of the service. It could also include security concerns.
So now we'll talk about the three key processes and activities of service strategy. The first one is financial management. And financial management helps an enterprise understand the value of its IT assets and ensure the costs of an IT service don't exceed the benefits. So to achieve these goals, financial management is in charge of the processes of budgeting, accounting, and charging. Financial management also gives the business a financial summary of IT's value, which comprises of IT services, assets that enable the IT service to be performed, as well as operational forecasts. And this data is created and used by several departments, enabling proper distribution of needed information and decisions and activities. Service portfolio management is an ongoing process. And a service portfolio is a repository for information on all of the services in an organization. And this repository is broken into three subsections. Service pipeline, which consists of proposed or under development projects. The service catalog, which lists all of the active services, and retired services. And these are services that are in the process of being discontinued. And to determine what should or shouldn't be listed in the service portfolio, ITIL recommends the following process, which is define, analyze, approve, and charter. Define consists of inventory services, ensuring business cases, and validating portfolio data. Analyze is used to maximize portfolio value, align and prioritize/balance supply and demand. And we'll talk about demand on the next slide. Approve is to finalize the proposed portfolio and authorize services and resources. And charter is to communicate decisions, allocate resources, and distribute the services. Demand management is a critical aspect of service management, and its objective is to make sure you're providing the right amount of services to the organization, not too few and not too many. To ensure that this happens, demand management strives to both understand and shape customer demand for services and provision appropriate capacity to meet the demand. So for example, this may mean urging customers to use resources during low demand times. And to meet the needs of a pattern of business activity, a service level package is created for each of those activities. And a service level package is basically the level of services provided to a customer and may include subcategories like core service packages, and those are your basic critical services, as well as supporting service packages, and those provide different or more effective use of core services. And lastly, the key roles and responsibilities of service strategy. So there are 3 key roles. The first is business relationship manager. And he or she establishes a strong relationship with customers and has a thorough understanding of all business processes so that they can ensure that they meet the customer's needs and obtain the highest ROI possible. And this person also negotiates with the product manager on the scope of projects. The product manager owns a product's value, so its cost and benefits for a specific product's entire lifetime. The product manager may choose to create, modify, or discontinue a product. And these responsibilities extend to the service's productive capacities, services that are in the service pipeline, and those services and packages that are presented in the service catalog. And lastly, the Chief Sourcing Officer reports directly to the CIO and manages sourcing. And sourcing is determining whether to outsource, invest, or simply sell the service management capabilities. And their goal is to be as efficient with resources as possible. And so that concludes our presentation on ITIL strategy. And so in sum, we talked about some of the key ITIL concepts of service strategy, some of the key processes and activities, as well as the key roles and responsibilities.